Hello friends, here I am with new story. I hope you all like the video and subscribe to my channel. So let's start the story with summary. Naruto is an orphan in Uzumaki. With the second Shinobi War on the rise, Naruto will go to any lengths to protect the ones he loves. Main pairing Naruto x Kushina. Chapter 1 Uzumaki was a thriving shinobi village home to the Uzumaki clan. The shinobi and kunoichi of the Uzumaki clan are famous for their skill in finjutsu, being feared in many of the greater ninja villages such as Iwakakure, Kumagakure, and Kirikakure. Uzumaki was not only known for its shinobi but the fact all of the Uzumaki clan was brimming with vitality, also making it known as a village of longevity. Uzumaki was an island located close to the land of waves. The main defense for the island and its inhabitants were the whirlpools surrounding the island. Being an island, the Uzumaki had to make do with the land they had. They constructed many high-rise buildings to house its occupants comfortably. Naruto was one of the many orphans in Uzumaki. His mother passed away when she gave birth to him, and his father was a Junin who died in the line of duty. Many of the caretakers of the orphanage agreed Naruto was no normal child. He was strong, courageous, and considerably more intelligent than any child his age should be. Belonging to the Uzumaki clan, some would ask why he wasn't adopted, having an idea as to what it may have had to do with his maturity since he practically raised himself. Accompanied by such qualities, the couples and individuals looking to adopt children thought he'd be just fine in the future and looked to helping other children, assuming someone would take him eventually. As a child, Naruto wasn't too tall for his age, measuring up to 3 feet 9 inches, a fit lean body. He also had crimson hair like most Uzumaki, but Naruto had captivating violet eyes that only a rare few in the world possessed. Naruto was a lonely child. By being smarter and stronger than the others, it secluded him from them. Sitting by himself on a hill overlooking a playground with plenty of kids enjoying themselves sat Naruto with a neutral expression. They were playing ninja, their parents watching them to make sure they didn't get hurt. Naruto had seen shinobi and kunoichi quite often since Uzumaki was a ninja village. Most of them held themselves with pride, while some seemed affected deeply at what they've had to do and experienced, giving them his respects every time he passed them. After all, it took a special kind of person to serve their country. It was one of his aspirations of becoming one of the greatest shinobi in this era, that and protecting anyone dear to him. Clutching his pads, he made an oath to himself once he finds someone truly precious to him, that he would protect them for everything he was worth. Standing up, he made his way to leave and go back to the orphanage. When he saw someone kind of lonely, he decided to go and try to be friends with her. Kushina wasn't having a good time at the park. Her mother told her to go play and try to make some friends while she was in the hospital receiving her checkup. She still couldn't believe she was going to be an older sister. Sure, she was kind of a klutz, and she wasn't stupid or anything. It was just hard to mix in with the other kids. Hearing a voice snap her out of her thoughts. "Hey, what's your name?" someone said behind her. Kushina turned around and looked at Naruto questioningly. She stared at him incredulously and it made him kind of uncomfortable. Assuming she didn't want to talk to him, apologizing quickly, he started to walk away before he heard her reply. "My name is Kushina Uzumaki, what's yours?" Turning around, he saw her with a small smile, making him smile in return. "It's Naruto." He extended his hand and she shook it gently. "It's nice to meet you, Naruto-san," scratching the back of his head before replying. "Just call me Naruto, I'm not one for formalities." Kushina smiled and replied, "Just call me Kushina then." With a nod from Naruto, he asked, "Do you want to play a game?" Sounding more like his age than he usually did. With an ear-splitting grin, Kushina replied, "Sure, how does tag sound, Bane?" Naruto looked confused for a moment before he ecstatically responded, "Sure, let's go!" Kushina was thankful that Naruto hadn't made fun of her for her verbal tick. Smiling, she came along and started to play tag with him. For the rest of the day, they played games with each other. Kushina didn't mind that Naruto was better than her in some aspects at all. In fact, she enjoyed a challenge. It was nearing dusk when they finally stopped playing. Kushina's mother came to the park to her surprise find her daughter playing with a handsome boy. Whenever Kushina tried to play with others her age, she was always the black duckling of the group and never really participated in any games with them. "Kushina-chan, come over here and bring your friend," called a soft feminine voice. Naruto looked over to the source of it to find a stunningly beautiful woman that he could easily tell was Kushina's mother. She had mesmerizing violet blue eyes just like Kushina. She stood around 5 feet 6 inches by his guess, and had the body of a kunoichi besides her obviously pregnant stomach. Kushina ran to her mother, while Naruto at a much slower pace made his way over. Smiling at the two children, she said, "It seems you made a friend, Kushi-chan. I'm proud of you." Blushing in embarrassment, Kushina stuttered out her reply, "Moo, Ka-chan, don't embarrass me in front of Naruto." Smiling deviously, "Oh my Kushi-chan, you wouldn't happen to have a crush on him already now, would you?" Naruto and Kushina blushed because they didn't like each other for the short span of time they had spent together. Laughing at her handiwork, she figured she would introduce herself to the young boy. With a serene smile, she spoke, "I'm Akane Uzumaki, Kushina-chan's mother. It's nice to meet you." Naruto bowed slightly before responding, making Akane arch an eyebrow. "I'm Naruto Uzumaki. It's nice to meet you, Akane-san." With a cheerful smile, Akane said, "Just call me Akane if you want." Turning to Kushina, she continued, "It's time we go back home, Kushina, and make dinner. Naruto-kun can come over for dinner if it's okay with you." "Are you sure? I don't want to be a bother, and the orphanage might get worried if I don't come back before it becomes dark?" questioned the young boy. Realizing the handsome young boy in front of her had no immediate family, she realized he must have always been lonely. He looked around a year older than Kushina, and she had just turned 7. Being the daughter of the Uzumaki, she had certain privileges in the village. Smiling before she replied, "I'm sure they won't have a problem with it. Now do you want to enjoy dinner with Kushi-chan and me? Tonight we're having my homemade salt ramen?" she questioned with a grin. Before he could respond, Kushina squealed in happiness and hugged her mother very gently. Her mother was due in a month after all. "We're having salt ramen for dinner?" questioned Kushina in a quivering voice as if she couldn't believe it, laughing good-naturedly at her daughter's antics. With a nod of her head at her daughter, who squealed with even more delight, she turned to Naruto, who looked dumbfounded. "What's ramen?" asked Naruto with an inquiring voice, looking genuinely confused. Silence reigned from the two crimson-haired women, both of them having different thoughts about the situation at hand. Kushina couldn't believe he didn't know what ramen was. "It is the food of the gods, the delectable noodles, the mouth-watering broth." That solved it. He was coming whether he liked it or not in her mind. Akane just had a bemused expression. She knew with pride that she made some of the best ramen in all of the Uzumaki clan. The broth she had at home should be finished simmering by now. Kushina grasped Naruto's hand and started or tried to pull him towards her family home, but he was bigger and stronger than her, so it didn't actually work. Kushina looked at Naruto with an almost crazed look in her eye before stating, "Simone, you have to try Ka-chan's ramen. It's the best, I swear." Laughing at her daughter's escapades, Akane waited for Naruto's answer. Was this how it felt to have a family? Granted, he still just thought of Kushina as his friend, but Akane had definitely struck a chord with him. Akane was how he envisioned a mother to be. With every word she had said to him, he could tell she genuinely cared about him. Nodding in response to Kushina, he just let her drag him away, all the while Akane was trailing behind them with a happy smile on her face, which was reciprocated by Naruto and Kushina both. Arriving at Kushina and Akane's home, he was astounded as to how nice it was. It wasn't huge by any margin, but it just seemed and felt like how he imagined a family home would be. It was cozy, the atmosphere was jovial, and whatever was cooking in the kitchen smelled fantastic. Kushina had practically dragged him to the dinner table so that he could try her favorite version of ramen. She was practically bouncing with enthusiasm. Naruto shared some of these feelings because most of the events he was included in today were some of the first experiences in all of his whole life. Akane came from the kitchen with 2 steaming bowls of shia ramen for Naruto and Kushina. Setting them in front of her daughter and her friend, she went back to get her bowl. Naruto had waited before Akane had come back to begin eating, but Kushina was barely restraining herself from digging in. He couldn't blame her, he supposed it was her favorite dish after all. Coming back into the room with her own bowl of ramen, Akane sat down on the opposite side of them. She clapped her hands together and said, "Itadakimasu," which was reciprocated by Naruto and Kushina both. Kushina, not waiting even a second after speaking, started to eat her ramen, not even savoring its flavor. Naruto, in a much more peaceful manner, took a small number of noodles with his chopsticks before lifting them to his mouth and chewing it before swallowing. Akane just stared at Naruto, awaiting his reaction. He had his eyes closed and his face in a neutral expression. After swallowing the mouthful of noodles, he opened his eyes to see Kushina's mother staring at him with a raised eyebrow. Scratching the back of his head in embarrassment, "This is definitely the best food I've had in my life." Kushina nodded vigorously, agreeing with him 100%. Akane just gave a heartwarming smile at him and thanked him for the compliment before eating her ramen as well. After thanking Akane for the wonderful dinner, and promising Kushina that they would play together again, Naruto was feeling fantastic. He was walking towards the orphanage along with Akane. She promised to walk him back. After all, it was getting dark outside. Breaking the silence, "Thank you for everything today, Akane-san. It was nice meeting you and Kushina both," said the young crimson-haired boy with a smile. Giggling before her reply, "It's definitely not going to be the last time, Kushina-chan, and I enjoyed your company too much for this to be a one-time occasion." Smiling and giving a nod of approval at this, they continued walking to the orphanage in tranquil silence. When they arrived, the caretakers were worried as to where Naruto had been for the past few hours. Thankfully, Akane was there to calm them and explain that she had been with him the entire time. 4-month time skip. These past months have been great. Kushina and I were learning the basics of Finjutsu at the Uzumaki Sealing Academy. Kushina had excelled in Kekai, Barrier, Finjutsu, while I was more attuned to Chikuken Finjutsu. We were just learning the basics. After all, every Uzumaki is proficient in using Finjutsu. It's just some are better at other aspects of it. We've also become nearly inseparable. We're always there for each other no matter the circumstances, and we trust each other with about everything. Both of us wanted to become shinobi as well. She wanted to be a kunoichi specializing in area ninjutsu, while I wanted to be a combat shinobi that specializes in nin and taijutsu. Kushina's little sister was born 3 months ago too. I've never seen her so nervous and happy in the time I've known her to be holding her little Imudo. Akane looked like she was glowing after the birth of her daughter. She had named her little baby girl Misaki after her mother. Naruto had seen a flash of sadness on her face for a split second before giving Kushina and little Misaki an heartwarming smile. He knew why she was sad. After all, who wouldn't be when you're missing one of the most important family members? Flashback. "Where's Kushina's father, Akane-san? I haven't met him yet in all the time I've known you both?" inquired Naruto. Akane had a saddened expression that worried Naruto. In all the time he's known her, she's always been smiling and easygoing. With a heavy sigh giving him a sad smile before she responded, "He died in the last Shinobi War. His squad was positioned at the rear guard protecting the army while we retreated from the enemy shinobi." A lone tear escaped her beautiful eyes and her choked voice made his heart lurch as she continued. His squad was injured but he had a job to do. Defending his comrades, he sacrificed himself in doing so. When a person has something precious they want to protect, they can become strong. He wanted to protect this village and me. She finished with a sad smile. "I'm sorry for your loss. He seemed like an admirable man befitting for such a wonderful woman," replied Naruto, trying to lighten the mood, nudging his shoulder playfully while giving a teasing smile. "Aren't you just a little flattered sometimes? Kushi-chan is going to be lucky in the future." Naruto blinked at what she said, not really sure how he should respond. He just scratched the back of his head while giving a grin. Flashback on what Akane had said to him had made such a huge impact on him. When he was alone he had nothing he wanted to protect but himself. Now he had Kushina-chan, Akane-chan, and little Misaki-chan. He promised to himself that he wouldn't allow them to face any more hardships in their lives. He would be the one to shoulder their burdens, and the shield to protect them from any harm. "I'm still a child though, I just want to be strong to protect them," thought Naruto determinedly, trying to rid himself of such thoughts and focus on the present. He followed behind Akane carrying Misaki while holding Kushina's hand. They were finally leaving the hospital after the doctors had told Akane she and Misaki were ready. Naruto was carrying all of the bags of clothes they got for little Misaki. Once they made it home, Naruto set the bags down and went to go help Akane with the more physical tasks around the house. While Naruto and Kushina were busy with their chores around the house, Akane had just finished putting little Misaki to bed in her crib. Her daughter and Naruto both wanted to become shinobi. She knew it was a dangerous lifestyle but it took a special individual to protect and serve their country. She was a retired Junin for Uzumaki after all. She knew just how terrifying war was. She was by no means a sensor ninja, but she could feel Naruto and Kushina's dormant chakra reserves. They were already around high genin and they hadn't even been trained. She decided that they could use the extra help since their chakra control was going to be shot if she didn't help them now. It also didn't help that the world was once again going into turmoil. It would only be a few years before the Third Shinobi War would break out, and she wanted them to be ready. They had both finished their chores when they heard a voice from down the hall call to them. "Naruto, "Kushina, come to the backyard, I need to talk to you," yelled Akane seriously. Assuming something happened, they both rushed outside to find Akane sitting there with a smile. "While it's been about 6 years since I've been an active ninja, I was hoping you two wouldn't mind if I taught you a couple of things," she said with a grin. Time skipped 3 months. Naruto and Kushina soon found out that Akane was a slave driver when it came to training. They weren't complaining though, they were one step closer to their dream of becoming ninja. Akane was explaining to them how special both of their chakra was. Kushina's was tensile, almost like chains. Akane had explained that she had inherited it from her, while Akane's wasn't as tensile as Kushina's. Naruto's chakra didn't share their same properties. Akane had described this chakra as golden and crimson, almost like the tailed beasts. Since they were both Uzumaki, naturally their chakra reserves were nothing to laugh at. Even young, their bodies were full of vitality and had more chakra than most experienced genins from other hidden villages. During their training period, Naruto had turned 9 and they celebrated his birthday at their house. His birthday was a spectacular affair. Having people who genuinely care for you celebrate it with you was incredible. He honestly felt on top of the world. He didn't ask for any birthday presents, their presence was enough for him. But Kushina and Akane were stubborn about it and got him stuff anyway. Akane had gotten him an outfit that she thought would match him. A long-sleeved black shirt with gray strips running down the sleeves, black Anbu-style pants, and ninja sandals. Kushina had purchased a set of 3-pronged kunais that were made just for him. Not long into his training, Akane had realized Naruto was a prodigy in the ninja arts. He took to her chakra control training like a fish in water, even with his reserves. His speed was nothing to scoff at for a 9-year-old boy, already bordering mid-chunin. His strategy was nothing to cut short either. He was extremely intelligent for a boy his age as well. Realizing that the village's shinobi were more on edge, he questioned her to see if a major conflict was en route, showing his analytical skills. Kushina was no pushover either. While she may not have the same qualities Naruto has, her skill in barrier finjutsu was stunning. Her Kongo Fusa, adamantine sealing chains, gave her the perfect setup for finishing moves on enemy shinobi since they were practically unbreakable. Her skill in area ninjutsu was getting to the point where they wanted her to work in the hospital to help treat certain patients. Uzumaki Kiege office Kenshin Uzumaki's side, the third Shinobi War was looking inevitable. Sooner or later it would happen. The decline of power between the 5 great nations was having its effects on the smaller nations. Already small skirmishes were happening between his shinobi against Kiri and Kumo shinobi. His nation along with Konoha and suffered dearly in the last war. Konoha had lost its second Hokage. While the Uzumaki were targeted for their sealing capabilities, and vitality on the battlefield, being able to fight for days straight caused that. The council had pressured him into trying to make special shinobi to safeguard the Uzumaki clan should Uzumaki fall. As he looked at the 48 candidates selected for a program that would make soldiers to protect the Uzumaki clan, one stood out in particular. His daughter and granddaughter alike had taken a liking to this one boy. Uzumaki Naruto, an orphan from the Second Shinobi War with no immediate family besides that of the Uzumaki clansmen. He had a natural aptitude for the shinobi arts, as his daughter had told him. This program he would be sending the boy into would have a low survivability rate, as the medical professionals they had approached estimated only 10% of the candidates would survive the augmentations. He never liked this aspect of leading, but the path to hell is paved with good intentions. If these individuals survived, then they would be able to safeguard his clan in the upcoming war. Signing his approval to forcefully remove the individuals from their homes and draft them into the shinobi forces. Chapter 2. Naruto hated school. He's pretty smart, but by Kami, if he has to go through another lecture about anything it would be too soon. Thankfully Kushina had something planned that would make the day better. All the students were coming back from their lunch break and taking their seats about to resume class when a resounding yelp of pain came from the teacher and some students. "Kushina and Naruto in the hall now!" comically yelled the teacher, rushing out of the class. It had been Kushina's idea to put pin needles on the seats of the teacher and some of their peers. They sat in the hall for the remaining period of the class, waiting for the teacher's scolding, and whatever disciplinary measure they were going to get would be better than having to listen to the rest of that lecture about the history of sealing techniques. After cleaning the restrooms, the teacher sat them down and politely requested them to tone down the pranks. As long as they didn't cause any harm to anyone, they were fine, reluctantly agreeing to the terms. The teacher then informed them that they were going to be heading to the Uzumaki Mask Temple tomorrow. The next day the temple was a grand place. It was gated off and had that surreal feel to the surrounding area. The temple was raised off the ground by around 8 feet, and above the entrance to the inside bore the Uzumaki swirl. "Get over here and look at these masks, Naruto!" Kushina yelled while dragging Naruto. Being around Kushina affected Naruto. He didn't feel the need to seclude himself from others and just acted how he pleased, laughing jovially. Alright, what do you want to show me?" "Look at these masks, aren't they kinda strange? It feels like someone is staring back at us." "Tbane," whispered Kushina while hiding behind Naruto. While many felt unsettled at the sight of the Oni masks, Naruto and Kushina both felt at ease and as if someone was watching over them in a good way. Looking around, both of them noticed some of their classmates who weren't from the Uzumaki clan looked disturbed while some shivered in fear. Their fellow clansmen and women looked at peace. Kushina looked at Naruto with a cute blush on her face. Sure, they were young, but she was allowed to have a crush on her best friend, right? He looked so handsome all the time, and that warm smile he reserved for her made her feel butterflies in her stomach. There would also be a knot in her stomach when she would see him talking to other girls. "Simone, there's a store nearby where we can get something to eat. Let's go before the teacher notices," said Naruto with a mischievous grin matched by Kushina, taking her by the hand, completely missing her cute blush. At the store, paying for their favorite snacks, they ran to a nearby hill and laid down to stare at the clouds, eating in relative silence before it was broken by Kushina. "What do you think is going to happen to us in the future?" questioned Kushina in a solemn tone, noticing her sudden melancholic mood and throwing an arm around her shoulder. "Don't worry about it, we'll be together throughout all of it, along with your family. I'm sure everything will be just fine," he responded confidently. "It's just everyone seems so on edge. Gigi has more work than usual, and even Ka-chan has been increasing our training sessions." Naruto just gave her a grin in response. "When did you get so smart and perceptive, huh?" teased Naruto, and laughed when Kushina gave him a cute pout. "I'm joking, you look too cute whenever you get angry like that," blushing up a storm before she just gave him a light smack to the chest. "Bane, I'm just worried about what might happen," Kushina replied anxiously. "You don't have anything to worry about. I won't let anything happen to you or your family. That's the promise of a lifetime," replied Naruto with determination brewing in his violet orbs and a gentle smile on his face. "What about you though? You know Ka-chan and I care about you a lot too." Kushina's eyes showing worry for him. "You worry too much, Kushina-chan," he teased with a lazy wave as he started to walk away. That's when he felt the area drop a couple of degrees, completely stopping and turning to Kushina. She was giving him a sweet smile that reminded him of a cane whenever she got angry. "You better answer me, Tbane," cracking her knuckles. Meanwhile, Naruto just laughed. Kushina was pretty scary sometimes, but he stood tall. "I just care about you a bunch. You're the most important person to me, why no?" Her anger was forgotten, blushing up a storm now. "I'm the most important person to him?" She thought, come on, it's getting late, the teacher's probably worried sick, we've tormented them enough today. Nodding dumbly, she just opted to follow him. After a quick scolding, they had convinced the teacher they had gotten separated from the group. Kushina had told him to come to eat dinner with her family since her grandfather was going to be there. Meanwhile, she's dragging him all the way there. Arriving there in record time, they heard shouting from inside. "He's just a child." Recognizing the distraught voice, they ran inside quickly. Naruto had run inside quickly, followed by Kushina. There were two people at the table, one being a distressed Akane. He had never seen Akane this angry. She was always so cheerful and always brought a smile to his face, but now it was just righteous feminine fury. The other was an old man that he assumed was Kushina's grandfather. He had a stone-cold expression on his face. "The best I can do is give you a week. The other candidates have already been gathered. Get out, now." Naruto had to give it to the man. He took the brunt of all of it and calmly stood up and turned to both of them. "It's good to see you, Kushina-chan. You're doing well in school, I'm hearing. Good job," he finished with a proud smile. "Gigi, what's going on? Why is Ka-chan crying?" questioned Kushina with a confused expression. "You must be Naruto. It's nice to finally meet you. I expect a lot out of you," he finished, completely ignoring all of Kushina's questions. Naruto blinked. In the span of a few seconds, Akane had blurred in front of her father and attempted to slap him. "Get away from him, you bastard," she hissed out while yanking her arm away from his grasp. "It was nice meeting you, Naruto. You three enjoy your dinner. Naruto realized just how tall he was. He was at least 6 feet and 7 inches tall, he estimated. With that, he disappeared in a water shunshin, leaving the three alone for the time being. Naruto and Kushina had been dead silent. The only noise that could be heard was Akane's hoarse breathing. "Ko-chan, what happened?" apprehensively questioned Kushina, her eyes showing worry for her mother. "I've never seen her so angry, she's shaking for Kami's sake," she thought, taking a deep breath to compose herself before speaking. "Don't worry about it, Kushina-chan, Ko-chan will handle it. For now, let's just enjoy dinner." After dinner, Naruto opted to help Kushina with the dishes before he left, while Akane headed upstairs to put Misaki to sleep. "What do you think happened? I've never seen Kayakun so angry at Gigi," inquired Kushina while staring directly at him. Naruto looked thoughtful for just a moment, recalling what they heard before they stumbled upon the previous situation. "Your Kosan said something about some boy being a child, right?" Kushina nodded in acknowledgement. "Does Akane help take care of any other boys besides me that you know of?" No, she doesn't," answered Kushina after thinking for a moment. "Then it probably has something to do with me. I have no idea what though," replied Naruto while staring right back at her. "You look great today, by the way, Kushi-chan," blurted out Naruto out of nowhere with a blush. Kushina quickly averted her gaze so she could hide her blush before her hasty reply. "You looked pretty handsome today as well, Naruto. Are you two lovebirds done?" teased Akane with a smirk and a devious glint in her eyes. Both Naruto and Kushina stiffened at her voice. She wouldn't ever let them live that down. Taking their silence as acceptance, she gestured to the couch in the living room. "Sit down, I need to talk to both of you," she finished seriously. They both made their way to the living room and sat down across from Akane. "Kushina-chan, Naruto-kun, I need both of you to remain calm when I tell you this, mainly you, Kushina. Naruto is going to be conscripted into the village's shinobi forces in a week's time," she finished sadly while staring at both of them. Naruto and Kushina both were stunned. On one hand, Naruto was happy he would be able to accomplish his dream of becoming a shinobi and being one step closer to protecting Kushina. He was conflicted though. He was probably going to be forced away from her. Kushina was stunned. They were practically inseparable in the period of time they knew each other. Naruto was one of the most precious people to her. The smiles he gave her always gave her the reassurance everything would be alright, his eyes that held nothing but warmth and good intentions for her. But now he was being taken away from them. "It's not the end of the world, I'll see you guys after I'm done training, right?" questioned Naruto, trying to uplift the rather depressing mood. "I don't know, Naruto, he said something about other candidates being gathered already. Usually to become shinobi you attend an academy to learn the basic arts and then build yourself up with the help of a jonin sensei." Taking a breath before continuing, her soft gaze still on Naruto and her daughter. "I can only assume he wants to do something special with you and the other candidates he's gathered." Her violet blue eyes holding nothing but worry for him, a frown on her beautiful face. Kushina couldn't bear it anymore. She tried her hardest not to cry in front of Naruto. She felt that she needed to be strong for him. "Why is he being conscripted? What's happening?" We both noticed that everyone seems on edge, Ko-chan. Her eyes welling with tears, and her breathing becoming labored. She was just too worried about it. She wasn't naive. Something big was happening and Naruto was about to be thrown in the midst of it. "As you've said, everyone's on edge. There have been skirmishes on our borders with Kurigakure and Kumagakure. It's a very real possibility that the third great ninja war is about to occur," she finished sadly. Naruto did his best to remain emotionless on the outside, but his eyes revealed everything to Akane, and just went to prove her own point that he was still just a child. Strengthening his resolve before he spoke, "I'll just have to train even more than I have been and become strong enough to win and come back to you three. If going to war means that you three can remain safe, I'll do it more than willingly," he exclaimed with sheer determination, filling his violet eyes. This brought a smile to both Kushina and Akane's face. Naruto always had a way with his words. "Well, let's go get your things. You're staying here for the rest of this week. I suppose I'll have to up both of your training. I've been holding back on you both," she stated, her eyes gaining a dangerous glint Naruto and Kushina had never seen, while she started laughing manically, sending shivers down both their spines. Naruto was dead tired even with his fairly large chakra reserves for a person his age. They were nothing compared to Akane's fully grown reserves. She had taught them how to concentrate a leaf on their forehead while they walked across boiling water, all the while trying to break their concentration. She always tried to keep them on their toes. At the most random times, they would have to dodge Blunderkinai and Shuriken to keep them on edge and always be wary of their surroundings. Other than that, the starting of the week had been great. Akane had given the school the excuse that they were sick for the week, so they could spend time together before Naruto left. Akane had to admit Naruto was a prodigy when it came to ninja arts. His shuriken jutsu was practically perfect, as were his hand seals. She had also come to realize just how intelligent he was. Every time they sparred, he was methodical about every move he made against her. She had tested his chakra natures as well. While most Uzumaki tended to have water and wind chakra natures, his were extremely unusual for an individual with Uzumaki heritage, fire, and lightning. They had to go get some scrolls so he could learn some basic ninjutsu. "I'll be careful, don't worry so much," said Naruto, a little annoyed they've been hounding him on being careful while using this ninjutsu. Flashing through the hand seals and taking a deep inhale of breath, Katen, Gokakyu no Jutsu, fire release, great fireball technique. All of them could feel the heat radiating from the technique. Naruto and the rest of them were in awe of the technique. "Sugoi," muttered Kushina in amazement while she playfully nudged Naruto on the back after he finished the technique. She hadn't practiced much combative ninjutsu. She never really liked violence, that's why she'd rather heal and take care of people. Well, I can't say I'm surprised anymore. After Akane had seen what he was capable of in other aspects of the ninja arts, she couldn't find it in her to be surprised anymore. "Alright, that should be enough training for the next few days. Let's just enjoy the time we have left," she finished with a smile while she teared up a bit. "I'm so proud of him. He's progressed so fast for his age, and the way he cares about us is just extraordinary for someone his age," she thought proudly. "Alright, we should probably go to your house, Irike," said Naruto while scrunching his nose due to how he smelled. "I'll make us something to eat while you two clean up," pinching her nose to articulate how bad they smelled. Naruto had always liked looking at the night sky. It always calmed him whenever he was feeling down or worried about something. "You're always looking at the sky, you know," whispered someone in his ear, startling Naruto from his stargazing. "Kochen wanted me to let you know dinner was about to be ready," calming down when he recognized it was Kushina. "She wants to play like that, huh?" he thought deviously. "Well, it's the second prettiest thing I look at. The first one is you," he finished playfully. A cute pink hue tinted her cheeks while she had this sweet smile gracing her features. "That's one of the things I love about you, Ttbane," she blurted out before slapping a hand over her mouth in embarrassment, a full-blown blush covering her features. She wasn't the only one blushing, no sir! Naruto himself was blushing up a storm, stuttering as he responded, "I love everything about you honestly, since I'm going away and I don't know when I'll be back." Taking a deep breath before continuing, "We're just children, but I'm pretty sure I love you, Kushina-chan," he stated with a smile, his eyes radiating his love for her. Taking her hand into his, he put a beautiful promise ring on her finger. Kushina just stood motionless for a second before taking him into a rib-crushing embrace. They just stood there hugging, Kushina just listening to the soft thump of his heartbeat. Naruto just holding her. She smelled great, he realized, like sweet peas. "I never want to leave her, but I don't have a choice," Naruto thought sadly, his embrace becoming tighter. Kushina released him just enough to stare up at him confusingly, just to find him giving her a sad smile with tears brewing in his eyes. "I never want to leave you, Kushina-chan. You mean everything to me, and I don't know how long it'll be before I see you again," he choked out shakily, while his eyes were shut to ward off the coming tears. Taking his handsome face into her hands, she just let her feelings guide her as she kissed him on the lips. The kiss sent a pleasant tingling through both of their developing bodies. Her lips were soft and so warm he thought it was a dream. His arms locking around her waist, pulling her closer, she tasted as sweet as she smelled. His worries long gone, it was a euphoric paradise to him. Her heart skipped a beat when she felt him pull her closer to him, interlocking her fingers around his neck. They just took it slow. His lips were kind of rough in a good way, and his smell could only be described as masculine. Their worries flew away as they melted together. It felt as if time stopped for both of them. Kushina was the first one to withdraw from the kiss. "Wow," her cheeks gaining a cute pink hue after realizing what they had just done. "Yeah, wow." His sadness was forgotten. All he could keep thinking about was tantalizing the kiss was, and how great it felt to actually hold her in his arms. "Oh, before I forget," Here, take this. I was going to give it to you before we kissed TTBANE, she stated with a cute blush, her gaze meeting his as she put a locket around his neck. Opening the locket, he found a picture they had taken months ago of them posing together with silly grins on their faces. It was during a festival the village held after a major trade deal was made with Konohagakure. You said something about how you don't know how long it would be before you saw me again. A coy smile on her face before she continued, now you'll be able to see me whenever you want when you're away. She finished a little sadly. Now if you mess with any other girls while you're gone, I'll clobber you TTBANE, she finished with a vicious grin, showing just how possessive she was already becoming of him. The same could be said for you if any guy messes with you. I'll tear them apart, he finished smugly. If she was going to claim him, he would be hers, and she would be his. Giving her a last quick peck on the lips that surprised her. Simone, your mom is probably wondering where we are. With that, they made their way into the home and had dinner with Akane and little Misaki. I hope you all liked the video. And if you all want the next part of this video, please like the video and comment 3 hearts. Please subscribe to my channel so whenever I upload a video you will notify.